Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Thursday, November 14th. The Pittsburgh Steelers have their second practice of Week 11 today on the south side at UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. I'll be there with Aaron Becker for SteelersNow.com. Make sure you stay tuned here on the YouTube channel and over at SteelersNow.com for everything coming out of practice, talking to coordinators Arthur Smith and Terrell Austin today, in addition to practice and the Steelers locker room. And of course, I'll be back here with Zachary Smith for another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive, just about 6 o'clock. So like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss anything here on the YouTube channel, and make sure you go over to SteelersNow.com as well to check out all the written work. Today, I want to talk about the outside linebacker position for the Steelers and how they are going to replace Alex Highsmith. It is not clear exactly who is going to start at right outside linebacker, with Alex Highsmith expected to miss at least this game and the next game with that gruesome looking ankle injury suffered in Sunday's win over the Washington Commanders. By the way, I talked to Alex yesterday. He's in pretty good spirits. Feels like he kind of dodged a bullet in this one, where he saw the video that you all saw and said, man, it looked a lot worse than it was. And so expecting to be back in a couple of weeks, but certainly not this week and not next week for Alex Highsmith. Who will start at right outside linebacker? I think who will start is probably irrelevant. I mean, that's just the first rep, but we know who the options are to play. It's going to be Preston Smith and Nick Herbig, and I think they're both going to play, and I think they're both going to play a lot. And I'm not sure, how much each of them is going to play, what the ratio is. But I actually think you're going to see some of Jeremiah Moon in this game too, because I'm just not sure the Steelers have enough reps to go around with the other guys they have available to them at that position and how much they've been playing. So Preston Smith, even though he started every game with Green Bay before the trade, had not been playing a lot of snaps. He only had two games over 40 snaps, and both of them were back in September. His last 5 games before coming to Pittsburgh, he played 39 snaps, 30 snaps, 28 snaps, 31 snaps, 21 snaps. If we assume that Smith is good for about 40 snaps, and you assume that you're going to play about 60 snaps on defense, that's still going to leave another 20 on that right side. And I would assume that that's about a right amount for Nick Herbig in his first game back from a significant hamstring injury. Herbig, when he was starting, his 2 games he started against Indy and Dallas, played 48 and 41 snaps, but when he was playing his backup earlier this season, it was 17, 17, 19. So around 20 snaps for Nick Herbig probably makes sense. And if I'm the Steelers defense, I would try to split those up as much as possible to have Smith in the game on first and second downs and Herbig in the game on third downs. Herbig, a much more dynamic pass rusher at this stage in both their careers. Smith, a bigger guy, stronger against the run when it comes to going up against guys like Charlie Kolar and Patrick Ricard. His ability to set the edge to me is a little bit different. And so that is how I would split that up. You have 60 reps over there. You have first and second down reps. I would give those to Preston Smith. You have third down reps. I'd give those to Nick Herbig. Probably not exactly broken down that way, but generally in that mode. If you're feeling like it's going to be a run, Smith in the game. If you're feeling like it's going to be a pass, Herbig in the game. And by the way, that's how Preston Smith was being used in Green Bay as well. They have a young guy that they really liked, that they were in Luke Van Ness, that they were trying to bring along, and they were doing it with his pass rush first. So I think that takes care of the right side, but I think that's probably all the snaps that you're going to want out of those guys. I don't think you're going to want Preston Smith to play much more than 40 snaps or Nick Herbig to play much more than 20. So I do think we're going to see a little bit of Jeremiah Moon in this game, in terms of just being someone to spell TJ Watt. Now, whether that's 10 or 15 snaps, it probably won't be a lot, but Moon getting to go out there against his old team should be an interesting piece of this. There's a whole lot of that going on, of course, with Art Millette and Deontay Johnson on one side and Patrick Queen and Deshaun Elliott on the other side. A guy like Jeremiah Moon might fall through the cracks, but Moon was claimed on waivers from the Ravens by the Steelers in January, and this will be his first game against his former team. And I think he's a good mix. When you talk about where Preston Smith is and where Herbig is, I feel like Moon is kind of in the middle and a good potential guy to give TJ Watt a couple of snaps off. And I think we will see all 3 of those guys used at the edge rusher position. In fact, there may be sometimes where they might want 3 of them. If you remember back in 2020, this was the game where the Steelers unveiled their 3 edge rusher position package, where they used Melvin Ingram, Alex Highsmith, and TJ Watt. And so, I'm sorry, was it Bud Dupree? Maybe it was Bud Dupree, Alex Highsmith, and TJ Watt. And then they did it again the following year after Dupree leaves with Melvin Ingram. And I think that 3 outside linebacker look can really work against the Ravens. I'm just not sure that they have enough snaps to go around to be using it a whole lot. But I mean, I would have no qualms with playing all 3 of those guys. And of course, who's coming the rest of this game. It will be a big game for Keanu Benton, a lot of base defense. It'll be a big game for Landon Roberts, a whole bunch of base defense and a whole bunch of that slightly heavier version of the nickel that we saw last week that had Benton and Roberts in there instead of Ogunjobi and Wilson. And I think, the heavier nickel package with Deshaun Elliott down in the box, if they are going to go nickel, probably makes more sense than a whole lot of Beanie Bishop, although Zay Flowers is a very small receiver and a perfectly adequate matchup for Beanie when he's in the slot. They move him around a good bit. So that's how I expect the Steelers to deal with the loss of Alex Highsmith this week. Maybe next week, with 1 game under Herbig's belt, he could play a little bit more and maybe take the rest of those reps from Moon. But I expect him to be if not on a firm snap count, to at least be a little bit cautious with him in his first game back from a hamstring. We've seen over and over again those soft tissue injuries, how easy they are to re-injure, to aggravate once you get back going. And I think they will be cautious with him in his first game back. Either way, expect a whole bunch of sacks because, well, that's what the Steelers do to Lamar Jackson, no matter who is playing edge rusher. The Steelers have sacked him a ton in the 5 games. I actually misspoke yesterday. He didn't start one of those 5. He came in as a backup, I believe, in one of them. But in the 5 games where he's played significant playing time, and in fact, in his 4 starts, he has been sacked 20 times in his 4 starts against the Steelers. That's that's a significant trend. And so I would expect that one to continue. Should be a big game for whoever is in the game at edge rusher for the Steelers. But I think Preston Smith, Nick Herbig, and Jeremiah Moon are all going to make an impact in this game. That's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with more from Steelers Afternoon Drive with Smitty. Leave a question if you have something you want Smitty and I to address, or if you have an idea for a topic here on Morning Rush. Tomorrow, I'll break down my top matchup for Steelers Ravens, and then on Afternoon Drive, me and DB will give and Smitty will give our predictions for the game, our bold predictions. And I think I had the best one last week, so heck yeah. But if you got a question for us, leave it here. We'll get to it in the comments. We love comments. Also, shout out if you're listening to somewhere with the whole crew at work. Leave a comment, and we will give you a shout out on the Afternoon Drive today as well. That's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and until next time, enjoy.